Welcome to Metaphysical Soul Speak. I'm your host, Elena Fox Starks. Well, guys, a new week has begun, and I just feel lazy like it's the weekend. So tired, so tired. A lot more of the head pressure, Ascension symptoms that people are reporting from a few days ago are still holding true. A lot of the pressure, a lot of the pain, lots of pain today. But one thing weird happened today as I was still in bed and I was sitting up and I was just thinking, I really need this pressure relieved, and I started to pray that it would be relieved. And in that moment, I don't know how to describe it other than what looks like it might have been up to an 8-mile long crack of lightning went shooting directly horizontally across the sky, and it went on for almost 8 seconds. Like crack, 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 crack. And the whole sky shook and the whole ground shook. And when that was over, half of my pain was gone. I don't know what to make about that. There's something about the firmament. I can't even say this word. Firmament. I don't know. Something about the firmament shaking as the veil is rent, something like that. Does that ring a bell to anybody? To any of you? Have you heard this? I mean, it's really, really strange. But yeah, that happened. And also just the rest of the day, just very tired. Most of my pain is gone now. It's slowly dissipated. I worked on it energetically. I have yet to take an aspirin today, although it's a possibility for later, but right now everything is good. The Schumann Resonance was very low again today. Hardly any activity. And every time I went to look at the cams for the, what do you call it? Every time I went to look at the cams for the Northern Lights, Aurora Borealis, there was nothing at all. It was just completely clear. And I haven't heard anything at all about the M-class flare, or at least C-class flare that was supposed to have hit the Earth. Did hear that there was a sunspot, a really, really nasty, dangerous looking sunspot on this side of the sun has now gone to the other side of the sun. And if a solar flare goes off the sun, it'll be in the opposite direction, and that won't hurt or hit Earth, although it can affect us still. Very weird. It's all very, very weird. Yeah, but the Schumann Resonance was only a couple peaks this morning, 8 a.m. UTC time, and they were only 15 hertz, only double normal, or double original Schumann Resonance. So I don't know what to make of it. I just don't know. We're getting a lot of the same sorts of stories. Everything seems to have been pretty much status quo for the last 3 to 4 days. Like nothing major has changed after those 6 class solar. Let me try that again. After those 6 C-class solar flares erupted from the sun the other day, and one that looked like was potentially an M-class, which knocks out radios. After that happened, we haven't really had like anything at all. So I don't know what else to make of it. Maybe the energy reached us, but it wasn't registering on the Schumann Resonance. Maybe we all expected it, so we didn't create a jump in the Schumann Resonance. I don't know. I don't know if it's responding to the human heartbeat, our second brain, or possibly our first brain, second one being in our head. I mean, it seems to me like the most important thing in this world is love, and that resonates from the heart, and that is coming out of our heart center. And scientists did discover years ago there was a brain in our heart, and there's also a brain in our gut, in our stomachs. So that's a whole nother thing. I might have to research a little bit more on that and actually do a show on it at some point, because that's a whole nother wild ball game, isn't it? Another thing that has come to my awareness and my attention is there's been in my energy field a little bit more, not directly, not in my life, of course, but in the lives of people that I know, and coming across like my YouTube or Twitter feed or whatever, a lot more talk of domestic abuse and domestic violence. And especially when it pertains to children, teenagers, or being perpetrated in front of a child that's not directly involved, but obviously is directly involved energetically and can witness the violence. So before we get into tonight's topic, I wanted to talk about that for a little bit. I had an idea, and I told my friend to do this for a little one in his life that unfortunately is going through this and experiencing, watching, the child is watching the parents beat each other up. And a couple people I know have like never in their life experienced this, and then suddenly now they're involved in a situation in which there is domestic violence, you know, and they're like writing me going, it's really weird because I was with you for 2 years and we never had any problems, and now I'm with this person and I have like beaten her up and I'm freaked out by it. So what to do? So I don't know if you're an adult in a situation that's toxic like that. The only thing I can tell you is get away and cut off all ties with the person. I mean, seriously, like 6 instances of this has come across my phone. People have texted me about it in the past week. That's a lot. I mean, as far as people that I know, and people I know tend to be super mellow and very sweet and just very relaxed. And so it's just kind of weird. So I don't know exactly if it's like the darkness trying to take over a situation and bring people back down to the third, if it's like the last throes of that, or if it's just the last little remnants of our shadow selves surfacing so that we can clear it. So if you're in a situation like that, forgive yourself for being either the victim or the abuser, and if you know, and stop it and get counseling. And if you know of a child or an animal who's witnessing violence, I had an idea. I mean, obviously try to take that child or creature, whether it's a cat or dog or bird or whatever, try to take them, the little ones that don't understand what's going on with the violence, and they don't understand what's going on with the earth and the ascension and all the changes in our bodies, and we're all going crazy, you know, to one extent or another. There's a lot of agitation has come to the surface and aggression in the past week. It's all around for a little while. That's what the rains are for. The rains are here to clear it. The winds are here to clear it. The snow is here to clear it. but we also have all pieces of the sun are literally freaking breaking off and being flown into the Earth's atmosphere. So, fire is fire energy, and how you use it. If you don't take it in and use it correctly, it can result in aggression and anger. So what I told my friend to do for this child he is aware of is that's witnessing this, is have the child, make for the child. If you're magical, make it a potion or a spell or magic it. If you're not, it's okay. All you need to do is make holy water, which is you get a bowl of water and you pray over it and you send your love and positive intentions into it. Say affirmations over it. You might want to put a label on it like love, protection, put some words around it and let it sit in the moonlight to calm, especially now that the moon is waning. This is a good time for it because it's dissipating slowly, because we want the protection to be there, but we want the sting of what's going on to dissipate slowly. So if you want to magic it, you can. You don't have to. If you want to make this without magicking it, that's also okay. So over holy water, you just say prayers that are of particular meaning to you, prayers of protection. It doesn't have to be Christian prayers. It doesn't have to be religious prayers. It could just be a direct prayer from your heart to the Great Spirit or the One Will or the Goddess or whatever however you meet divine in your everyday life. And you can, and while you're saying these prayers in a pattern that is the closest to your heart, whether it's a pentagram or a circle, a cross, the cross of Hecate, whatever feels right to you mostly, take this and put sea salt or preferably Himalayan rose salt in that pattern into the water until you feel you've had enough salt into the water. That's how you make holy water. You can add rose essential oil or any citrus essential oil. You can even add bay leaves or basil. Also, when you're done with this, put it in a spray bottle, and if it's for a child, put bling, all kinds of beautiful, like glue with glitter in it or sequins. Just put a lot of love into it. Just think constant thoughts of love, purity, innocence, and protection. And in the bottle itself, go ahead and put a rose quartz or an amethyst or a normal quartz, but cleanse it first. And then when you hand this to the child, say, this is your magic spray. And you tell the child this is to make you more beautiful or to make you protected, or it will bring the fairies around you, or something that was going to bring comfort. Like, this is your angel spray. When, your mom and dad are being mean to each other, take this in your room and spray it with angel spray so the angels will be at your side. Ask Archangel Michael to protect the child as well, and to always be around, especially when the kids start spraying this. It will also stop any and all attachments of negative entities, and it will cleanse the area, the environment in which the child is. And it will cleanse their aura, and it will cleanse their chakras, and it will help to keep them safe in this dangerous situation. I don't trust CPS as far as I could frickin' throw them. I don't, not at all, not even for 2 seconds. But if you could find another relative or a neighbor or someone who's willing to babysit the child for a week or two while the parents can figure out who's going to move out until the counseling is done. Handle it on a very local level. That might be for the best. But I just felt the need to say this. It's not a happy topic, but it's something that needs to be addressed since it keeps coming into my field of attention. Other things you could do is ho'oponopono art. You can just draw with crayons on a little piece of paper and give that to the child. Write the phrases, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. Go back and re-listen to my ho'oponopono episode, and it'll teach you everything you need to know to practice this very powerful, very real form of shamanic healing that comes out of Hawaii. So you could paint it, you could draw it, you could write it in freaking binary code in zeros and ones. It doesn't matter as long as the energy of that is somehow on a paper or something, and give that to the child. Put it on a toy. You could paint something and hand it to them. Just anything that will infiltrate the energies and penetrate the dark, heavy denseness of the violence and the abuse, and that it's a cycle, that it's something that we've all been through. We've all been touched one way or another, whether it's this life or past lives. We've either been victims to it, or we've been abusers, or we've been both, depending on the time or or we've been witness to it and we've been affected by it. And there might be a spiritual PTSD that we collectively have from it. This world has been violent for us. So we need to get rid of all of it. We need to heal it all so we could go to the fifth dimension clear. So I am sending out extra energy into the earth healing grid right now. So mote it be. And I feel it already going. It's like, yeah, if you have a pet, just spray the pet down if the pet has witnessed violence, and especially if the child or the pet is having nightmares. And if you are, spray yourself. Do the same thing for yourself as well. I'm just, as we're coming into the Aries energy, Aries, April's coming up. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with the aggression and the anger and the angstiness. I just felt like it was worth talking about. All right. On to tonight's topic. Basically, it's also come into my attention that creepy crawlies have come into my energy field a little bit more. So I started asking God about it last night, and God said, you have to do a show on this tomorrow. So, which is today. So when we come back, I am going to connect with the Great Spirit and ask, what is the meaning behind all the little critters that come around and bug us? This could be from rats to mice to insects, all the different insects, and they all have a different meaning. There's a different reason why they come into your awareness, why they're coming into your house, why are they bugging you, and why are they giving up their lives willingly, because they know you're going to chase them down and kill them. Speaking of violence, why do they willingly come into your house knowing? Why do they give up their lives? What are they getting you to look at? Why are they trying to get you to look at? It's going to be a wild one tonight, guys. So, after this message, here we go. Hey, you. Have you ever thought about having your own podcast like me? Was it even a New Year's resolution? For me, it sure was. But as I've been looking into this for months, I was daunted. There's so many questions I had. When I was trying to get this off the ground, I was wondering, how do I record the episode? How do I get it across all the platforms? How do I get my podcast on Apple Podcasts when I don't even have an iPhone? How do I get it onto Spotify and all the other places? How do I get people to listen? And how do I make money from my podcast? How do I edit it? Oh my God, I had all these questions And I was so confused until I discovered the simple answer is Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free, and it is ridiculously easy to use. And now Anchor can match you with great sponsors too, so you can get paid to podcast. All you need to do is record it. You don't have to go out and look for people to advertise on your show. They help you. So basically what I like about podcasting is I don't have to have a video of myself. You don't know if my hair is dirty or if I'm still in my pajamas or even if I'm wearing makeup. Haha. And it's so easy. I could do this from the comfort of my own home in my living room using this amazing app right from my cell phone. So easy, right? So if you've always wanted to start your own podcast and make money, by the way, doing it, please go to anchor.fm/start. That is anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters that are already using Anchor. Again, that's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast, and I can't wait to favorite you. Woohoo! Let's be broadcast podcast buddies. I'll see you there. All right, guys, I'm going to once again channel information in real time from the Great Spirit, otherwise known as the Divine One Will, Primal Will to Good, whatever you want to call it. But I've connected to the God and the Goddess aspect, Divine Mother and Heavenly Father aspects, so we get a balanced viewpoint. So I'm going to ask the question, and with my eyes closed so I can hear and discern the information better. This information is out, out and about in the real world, I guess, probably. But some of the stuff I have never seen, like if a butterfly comes to you, some cultures believe that a butterfly is a harbinger of death or comfort from an angel, for example. But I have never stopped to ask God directly what these things mean. And we're not going to start with butterflies. We're going to start with the kind of bugs. The ones that make you wish your feet weren't barefoot. Wish you didn't have shorts on when they appear. We're going to talk about the ones that freak you the hell out, make you a stone cold killer. The minute you see him, you freak out. Then afterwards, you're like, "Oh my God, I'm like an enlightened being. What am I doing, wanting to murderize these creatures? And why did they put me in that position? Why did they come to my house?" It's like, thou shalt not kill, and so far so good. Most of you out there haven't killed any humans. Most of you out there probably haven't run over animals. Unfortunately, I did. I've ran over animals, but I'll do a show on that at some point, what was going on there. But it was an accident, obviously, but, shite happens. But we're going to talk about what happens when you're minding your own business, sitting home in your house. It's not necessarily messy. It's okay. Maybe it's not perfectly clean, but out of nowhere, here they come. And they can mean anything, any kind of insect. Why are they invading your home? Why are they in your energy field? Why did they show up in the first place? So pretty much that's what tonight's topic is about. God also informed me that we will not be going over critters or creatures because we have so much to cover with just the insectoid kingdoms. So we will talk about on another day, the ones of fur and scales. Because some people get snakes and lizards and even alligators. Oh, honey, gotta call the guy. We got alligators again. Some people, in Florida, this happens. In Mexico, it's probably, we got caimans again. But tonight we're just going to cover insects, and we're going to put it in kind of a broader view of insects, not just, we're going to include like worms and things, like all categories and manners of the ones you just don't normally want to see. You don't want them crawling on you or, ugh. I'm probably not going to get any sleep tonight after this episode. But you know what? It's going to be helpful. Bear with me. Put on 3 extra blankets. Shake them out first. Put on your socks. Put on a second pair of socks. Probably shake out your slippers and then put them on your feet. Protect your toes. Because we're getting into the creepy crawlies tonight. All right. Here we go. All right, we're going to start with my least favorite bug that, if I see this from across the frickin' street, I stand in absolute frickin' fear and I scream my head off. On Art Bell, there was a story about a lady who was terrified of these things, and her brother-in-law thought it'd be, just so hilarious to put a bunch in a box and give it to her like it was a gift. And she had a heart attack and died. Okay? Don't do this crap to people. People, do not do this to anybody. You can literally kill somebody with this. Of course, I'm talking about, oh my God, I don't even want to say the frickin' word. Okay, God, am I connected with you guys? Okay. Cockroaches or roaches. Ooh. And I don't want to go into the different kinds, but God, am I connected to you? Do they all mean the same thing no matter what kind or variety of cockroaches it is? Yes, pretty much. What does it mean? Does it mean we're horrible, dirty people? Or we sinned or something? What does it mean? When a roach appears to you in your energy field, it's a dirty part of yourself manifesting outwardly. Okay, what does that mean, God? Okay, it means that it's a part of yourself that you forgot to love. Whether it's an attitude towards somebody that you don't like, it's an anger that you haven't resolved yet, it's a feud, an ongoing horrible feud you have with somebody. It's a presence of evil inside you that you forgot to fix and love. It's a part of yourself you do not love anymore. And it manifests outwardly in the form of a cockroach. And when you have many of them, it's because it's a part of yourself you're pushing away so hard because you don't accept yourself fully. Oh my God. Well, I think that's going to help everybody. Ooh, everyone's going to want to accept themselves now, God. Oh my God. Now, if you see them outside in the street, that's the general collective whole. That is just what people are manifesting as a group in a neighborhood. when they're very judgmental. So if you live in a very Christian neighborhood and they believe that you should not have sex before marriage, and a lot of the teenagers are having sex before marriage, sometimes these bugs will manifest because it's how the neighborhood feels and looks at these girls. Specifically, it's more about females than males, by the way, because of the double standard. Thank you, God. I'm glad God recognizes this. And also, it's because how the teenagers were taught to feel about themselves for doing what automatically comes naturally to them. Sexuality is a part of life. It's a part of having a human body and a human experience. And if I may say so myself, it's a wonderful experience and expression. But if you don't accept that about yourself and you judge yourself for it, you're going to get cockroaches in your neighborhood. Sometimes if you'll see them pouring out of a specific building, there's a lot of corruption within the organized structure of that building. Okay, so God, one time I saw it coming out of a corporation. It was a grocery store. Okay, I'm just going to say it out loud. Yeah, there were some problems in the management system. People were not being treated fairly, and they were being ripped off from their pay. Oh, so actual corruption in the organization, not just, food laying around. Normally they don't go for food, right? I mean, some will eat like grease or something, but usually it has nothing to do with food you've left out. They have plenty of food in the natural world that I've provided for them. All right, good. So one time I saw it in the post office, a post office in Chico at night in the summer. It sounded like rushing water, and they were just pouring out of the building. It was disgusting. Yeah, there was some problems with not only the pipes, and they were showing that there was an issue with the pipes, but also people weren't totally getting their mail, like they were stealing from people. There was some corruption in that specific post office. Oh, very, very interesting. Can we get off this bug now? Because I don't like these guys at all. Yeah, that'll be fine. Okay. So, the next one is, God, what about beetles? Like beetles that can fly. They're just kind of sweet, and they're just little garden beetles. Why do they appear when they come into your house, especially if you don't even have a garden? Well, they show up to your house because they're confused, and a lot of times it's when you yourself have confusion, and your own confusion will attract them like a magnet. Not all beetles mean confusion. When you had word-boring beetles in your house and they were psychedelic, the green and red ones, they were coming out as a result of conflicts from Christmas time. Wow, God, they actually showed up 3 months after Christmas. Yeah, there was still some tension in the house from Christmas, and they were green and red, so I color-coded them for you. Great. My husband refused to decorate the tree with me. There was a lot of tension. I felt like, why do we even have a tree? And then there was a whole bunch of weird little issues. Exactly. And all those weird little issues came out of your house, literally. But they were flying away. But at the same time, Christmas is a foundation of your house, of a household, of a home, of a family. For a lot of people, holidays, whether you're Christian or not, whatever religion you are, there are holidays that hold the family together. And sometimes there'll be a destructive force. Oh, is this also including termites? You're showing me termites. Yes, indeed, even termites. When there is things that are eating away at the foundation of your family, issues that are not being addressed, a lot of times bugs will attack the structure of your home to show you that you are lacking in the foundation of your relationships or in your family or familial communication. There needs to be a solid structure, a solid foundation. at the heart of every family. And when it doesn't happen, sometimes these creatures will appear as a gentle reminder. And now, God, these people, these creatures, these insects, they know they're giving up their lives for us, right? Yeah, absolutely. I sent them, and they know it's just a short-term mission. They're coming back as energetic form. In heaven, there are no bugs per se, but it's just like a general collective energy. And there are scientists that work on various aspects of insects, but that's only contained. So don't worry when you do come and pass over and cross over to be with us. Don't get scared. But if you want something beautiful like ladybugs or dragonflies or butterflies, then they will definitely be around you, only if you wish it. So don't panic. There are no insects in heaven that will bother you or hurt your feelings. And you don't have to worry about your toes in heaven. Okay, thank you, God. That really does actually help me. All right, so speaking along these lines, every now and again, people get ants, and there are ants in every country I've been to. Every single stinking place I've been to, there have been ants. Let's start with the little black ants. God, what do the little black ants mean? Friendliness and cooperation. If you are lacking in friendliness, like when your children are having sibling rivalries and fighting with each other, the ants will show up and they will coordinate together to show you a direct example of how to work together. So what about, so like when I was in Guatemala and we were eating dinner and one of my kids dropped a potato chip on the floor, and literally like in a few minutes, 50 million ants came in and they carried the potato chip away. And I have pictures on my Facebook about this. Like, hey, it made like a really unpopular meme among my friends saying, hey, cooperation. So is that what you're saying when these ants came into the house? Yeah, they were showing your kids how to get along and how to share. Great. Now, what about, God, when we see really large black ants? Well, it's the same message, but on a bigger scale. Like, you really need to cooperate with each other. You really need to get along. Okay, now, we saw an ant that was, and I'm getting the frickin' willies here, God. I'm sorry, but I don't like all of your creatures, and they freak me out. And what about the giant ant that I saw that was like 3 giant black patent leather marbles? It was about 2 inches long, 3 inches long. Ah, yes, my jungle ants. Oh, God, he said, now, didn't that make your kids work together? Oh, my God, it did. It so did. My littlest ran out, and he was a brave one, and he started smacking that thing, and my oldest was screaming. It was ridiculous. He said, but it got them to love each other and appreciate themselves more, right? Yes, no more fighting for the whole rest of the week, I think, after that. He said sometimes the message has to be a little bit bigger. So is that the same thing with carpenter and wood ants? Yes, but those are specifically for working together to create a better foundation or a better home, or cooperating even in cleaning your house more. Like the bigger ants, the big black ones, they're more about construction issues. So does it always mean about your house? No, constructing your life. Having a better schedule, maybe, working together in a grander scale. The bigger the ant, the bigger the message, basically. The tinier the ant, it's more of a gentle and smaller reminder. Okay, that's good, God. When we were in Mexico, we saw ants so small we could barely see them. Yes. Oh, which reminds me, what about those little tiny red mites? Mites. In small things come big packages. Those little tiny mites are bright, fiery red, and those are to help you to pay attention to what's important in your life and to give focus, because they're so tiny and they're so round. Focus is needed in every area of your life. When you start to focus, the mites will disappear. When you become mighty in your mind, in your concentration and focus, you won't get mites anymore. All right, so what about kids that have ADHD? I'm not going to send them mites, don't worry. Okay, good. All right, what about, we might as well get the gross ones over first. What about centipedes and millipedes? Millipedes are when you need to look at, are you saying foundation? Okay, so it's when you need to look at the foundation of your family from the perspective of your ancestral lineage. And centipedes means you need to look at the toxicity in your ancestral lineage. They don't always come in the house, but if you go outside of your house and you see them, because your ancestors in a way are outside of you as well, so I don't send them into your house. But a lot of times it's you need to pay attention to ancestral lines. That's why they have all the legs. Okay. Woo, yuck. Okay, sorry, God. Not judging your creatures, but totally judging your creatures at the same time. It's okay, I understand. The third dimension is not for wimps or sissies. Oh, God. Okay, you're right. Oh, my God. Okay. What about grasshoppers? Grasshoppers are very technical. I'm getting the technical energy. Like, what can you tell me about grasshoppers when you send them into our field? Generally, I'll never send them into your home. They'll end up in your driveway or in your road outside of your home. And it's just when I want you to pay attention to your environment, how you're treating the soil or crops if you live in farmland, how you're paying attention to your spiritual lessons if you're in the city and they're coming to you. Okay, all I could think about right now, God, is I asked about grasshoppers. And two things are coming up. King from Kung Fu calling someone young grasshopper. Listen, young grasshopper. And then the other situation is when my Aunt Mary Beth saw a grasshopper and it flew up from the ground up into her face, and she started screaming and swatting at it like a mad woman, which made me do the same thing, and I've always ever done that since. It has not served me, her behavior, but I can totally understand her behavior because, so what about that? Grasshoppers are sent to show you spiritual lessons you're not facing. Sometimes they do hop in your face, and that's why you're not facing them. All right. A lot of times there are spiritual lessons that have to do with love in the heart, especially if they're a green grasshopper. In fact, the greener the grasshopper, the more it has to do with love. And the more yellow or gentle amber color of the grasshopper, it has to do with your social... Were you saying social competence? Okay, it has to do with your social competence, your ability to get along in a crowd. But if they're really green, then it's more of a personal love relationship. But it mostly has to do with like your parents or your kids or, close-knit family members. Doesn't always have to be romantic. In fact, usually it's not romantic when it comes to that. Okay, so what about... Oh yeah, I forgot to ask you about red ants and fire ants. Red ants come because you are, when you are angrily and adamantly not cooperating due to anger and past issues that made you very, very angry. Fire ants have to do with two things. Anger to the point of absolute self-destruction, and also you're not paying attention enough to the fire spirits around you. You have fire magic. You need to start working your fire magic. That's why fire ants come. Usually they're in your yard. They won't come into your house, but sometimes it's because of that. Also, sometimes it will be a precursor or a warning that a little fire is coming your way. Please be careful. Please don't burn your house down. Please pay attention to everything fire related that you're doing. Candle safety, fireplace safety, stove and oven safety. And also be aware if the environment that you're around is dry and you live in a forest, you got to be careful when you see the fire ants. They are usually a warning and a precursor. All right, good. Thank you, God. Let's see here. What about when you get the stinging insects, hornets, and wasps? Okay, what about wasps? We'll start with wasps. Wasps are a raging anger inside you that you have not yet addressed. In fact, a wasp will sting you if you are so angry that you're about to burst out to somebody else in your general vicinity. And if somebody you know gets stung by a wasp, chances are they've got anger issues and they have not learned how to control their emotions. And they also don't know how to cooperate with others. They don't play well with others. That's a big reason why a wasp nest will show up on your house. They show you that you can have an angry nature, but yet still cooperate with others. And you have to learn to control your emotions. Now, what about hornets? Hornets are more gentle creatures, and they will only sting if they feel threatened. A lot of times hornets have to do with protection of your home. You're not properly protecting your family. You're not properly protecting your home. You're not accepting protection for yourself. Like if you've been meaning to get a new lock on your door or an extra lock or security measures and you're just not doing it, hornets might show up in your energy field. Okay. And is it possible that these insects might have other meanings? There's an infinite number of meanings for each insect, but these are the basic gist. Sometimes it might be a personalized meaning only for the individual, and it has nothing to do with what we're saying here tonight. And each person can interpret insects in their energy field the way that they wish and the way that they most relate to it. Because every situation and circumstance and person is different. But these are the generalized notions of why I would specifically send these insects, or why it's kind of like a computer though, guys, because if you have a specific frequency you're putting out, those things will come up in your energy field. And when you stop, they stop. Pretty much. I mean, if you don't take out your trash, you're going to keep getting flies. If you leave meat sitting around on a counter uncovered, you're going to get maggots. You're going to get flies. You're going to get that because that's obvious. A lot of creatures will come just to clean up after you. And it's just a part of the pattern and the grid of the third dimension. And a lot of it doesn't have anything to do with you unless you're affecting the field in a way in which you're a messy person. But if your house is generally clean, and then these things show up, this is what we're talking about tonight. Okay, great. Thank you, God. So, What do mosquitoes mean when they show up in your energy field? Ah, yes, mosquitoes. You are not protecting your health. And also, they're just kind of an annoying creature. They're testing your patience. They're always there to test your patience. You have to be more patient. Go out, get a citronella candle, use incense, use judgment, correct judgment. You go out to where there's a lot of mosquitoes, you're going to get bit, and that's not because of something you're doing wrong or not paying attention to. They're just mosquitoes. But when they come into your house and you haven't seen one in a long time, probably there's another aspect of your health you're not really paying attention to, so they want you to pay attention. Okay. Now, bees. What about bees? Just honeybees or bumblebees? Bumblebees mean you really aren't paying attention to your surroundings. You need to be a little more careful. You're going to be bumping into things, or you might be bumping into people that would harm you. So with bumblebees, they're just the sweetest messengers. They just want to let you know that you're not really paying attention to all that you need to be paying attention to in your environment. Maybe you're not looking both ways before crossing the street. Maybe you're not really paying attention to the other cars in traffic when you're driving. Bumblebees want to make sure that you find your way, and so they bumble their way through life, and they bump into the people that need to understand being Mr. Magoo isn't a good way to go through life, because many accidents can happen, and they might be a harbinger of an accident that might be happening in your near future as a direct result of not paying attention. Oh, I love bumblebees. He says, and they love you too. What about wood bees? Pretty much you're not paying attention to things in your house or in your the structure of your life, or again with foundation. Any insect to do with structural, foundational, house-related things also point to your own life and the structure of your life. And wood bees are kind of like bumblebees. There's an accident waiting to happen in your home. And so they want you to pay attention. Okay, great. Now, actual honeybees. Honeybees are the sweetness of life. They come and bring you love and joy. They're buzzing. It might feel annoying and upsetting to you, but they're increasing the vibration around you. They put an energetic net around your house. In fact, remember when the bees came? Yes, okay. God is showing me when the bees came. I lived in a house that every year the honeybees would come and they would land by the thousands on my house, and they would hum, and the whole vibration of my energy of my yard and my house and everything would just be like, it was like super high vibration, and it always made me feel A, completely terrified to leave the house, and B, absolutely in love with the bees, like so happy. They brought me such joy and happiness, even though I was terrified to go outside. I didn't want to hurt them or disturb them, and they're so furry and cute, and I wanted to just love them, and I just would love them from a distance, but I'd watch them in the cloud when they would first come. It would be like a black cloud covered above my house, and then they would land, and then the sun would be on them, and it was just like incredible experience. So yeah, they were bringing you love and joy and raising your vibration. That's what bees do. They love us, and they pollinate our food, and they want to know us to know the sweetness of life. I mean, there's so many amazing bee stories. God, we could do a whole show on bees. I could look up so many stories. He said, that's right. Bees are very sweet. They're very intelligent. They work together in a collective whole, and they serve a queen. So in a way, they're a royal insect, and they go out of their way to promote and provide us with honey. And honey can be used to do cuts. We can do a show on bees later, because it is really enough information to fill at least an hour or 2 hours. There's so wonderful creatures. I agree. I love bees very much. All right, what about, and this one creeps me out so much, silverfish. Okay, they're not actually fish, and they are very silver, like money silver, and they're also looking like fish. And they have these long primordial antennae, and they're really creepy. What can you tell me about those, God? Sorry about the judgments. I have too many judgments about these things. It's okay. It's okay. It's your opinion, and you're allowed to feel this way. But silverfish come in your power, in your house when you're not in your power, as far as your connection to the water spirits and the nature spirits. They're trying to connect with you. They're trying to work with you. Sometimes silverfish will come before a flood. Okay, you know what, God? We had a flood here a couple days ago. There you go. The water spirits want to work with you. They will send their creatures that look like fish to show you that, and that's why they're in your bathtub. They get in your sink. It's everything to do with water. They're in your bathroom. It's everything to do with water. They're not in your living room. They're always where there's water, because you need to connect with the water spirit and find out what's happening. In your case, there might be a contaminant in the water. Don't drink it. Or that you need to work with a water and nature spirit. So you need to connect with the water spirits later and work with those. Okay, great. Thank you. That's awesome. Awesome information. Okay, flies. When it's relatively clean and there's no trash out, why are flies? Flies are curious creatures. They want to know everything they can know about humans. They don't have very long to live, and they have so many eyes because they want to see so much. Flies will come around when you're curious, but you don't do research that you need to be doing. When you want to study and you're not studying. When you're denying yourself the joy of reading a book or researching something that you want to research. Oh, that's so interesting. Anything else? They fly in angles. Have you noticed? Yes, I did notice that. They're weird. They don't fly in circles. They do fly in angles. They can also show you the presence of a demon or a negative or low energy spirit or an evil thought form as well. So if someone's thinking negative and they send a demon towards you, you might end up with a lot of flies in your house that day. Oh, God. Okay. Thank you. So even though the flies themselves are not evil, they will show you the presence of evil. All right. That's so good to know. All right. Daddy Longlegs. It's a protective energy spirit that comes with the daddy longlegs. They come to observe you, and they just try to weave a gentle and positive peace energy around you. With their long, long legs, they're like long antennas of peace. They'll never harm you, and they will take care of little gnats. Oh yeah, what about gnats? What do they do? I forgot about gnats, not on my list. Gnats are the little nagging problems and issues, but the day-to-day things that you need to take care of that you're not getting done. Like if you want to go to the grocery store and you forget something and then you come back and that will nag at you until you go back to the store to buy it, the gnats will come around and nag you. They're nags. They're little nags. They will nag you. All right. But every little thing that you need to do, if you have a list that you haven't gotten to, you're going to have gnats until you take care of your list, and then they will go. All right. What about wolf spiders? Wolf spiders are more substantial, aren't they? They want to show you that they will jump out at you. They're not afraid of you. And they're trying to show you not to be afraid of to go for what you really want in life. Don't be afraid. Be as a wolf. Even if you're just a little spider. Be as a wolf and just go for it and be brave and strong and do the thing that you need to do. That's what they're coming to show you. So if you want to go back to school, or you want to change jobs, or you're ready to take a leap in a relationship, or if you're ready to get a divorce and the relationship is over, wolf spiders will show up in your energy field when you need to get out of where you currently are and be brave and strong like a wolf. Wolf spiders, they're almost like an insect that dares to dream it is something way bigger than it is. And it's telling you that to do the same. Jump out of your shell. Don't be afraid to go after something, even if it's really big. That's an awesome message. Okay. What about the black widow spiders? The black spiders with the red hourglass on their backside. Black widows are... I'm trying to get the message here. What are they? They're sexy, sleek, and seductive, and it means that either you're being this way or you're about to be approached by somebody who will, well, in the end, do you wrong. A black widow spider will mate, and when she gets what she wants, she will kill and eat the male black widow that she just, she just copulated with. So they are a sign of mistrust. There is a generalized mistrust. So I had a black widow spider when I lived with my roommates, who I felt like I could trust them. It was the landlords that you couldn't trust, because you didn't find the black widow spider inside the house, but it was on the outside of the house. So that means it was to do with the people who owned the house. You could not trust them. If you had found it out more in your yard, that means maybe your neighbors you were not able to trust. If you find them on your porch, within 24 to 48 hours, someone will come to your door that you cannot trust. Maybe a salesperson, maybe a friend of a friend, it's someone you cannot trust. Good to know. Now, does it matter if a spider is in your house poisonous or non-poisonous? Generally, no. A lot of spiders come because they want you to weave a better life for yourself. They want you to be in charge and take control. They build their own houses and live in them. Even if they're in your house doing this, and especially when they're in your house and they're building a nest or they're building a web, they want you to know that you need to build your networks. You need to build your life. You need to structure your life the way you need it to run. You are in charge, and that's what they come to show you, is that independence of spirit and the intelligence and the finery that you will need to construct a life of your desire, of your choice, to construct a life of your own election. That's how spiders do it. They don't come into your house and just live off of your own walls. They will construct walls upon the walls, because that's what they need. They need their own structure no matter where they go. You could take a spider and you could knock down their web, and a couple days later, a new one will be in its place, because they also do not give up. They don't give up. Spiders are so scary and they're so cool. They also have a lot of interest, right? Does that mean why they have 8 legs and 8 eyes? Exactly. And plus they mean money, right? I've heard it's an old wives' tale. They don't always mean money. If you're not working it, you're not going to get money. You got to work your life, and then you will get the money. Everything, all abundance of all kinds will flow to you harmoniously if you construct your life the way it's meant to be. All right, good. Okay, what about the B-52s, the mosquito hawks? The giant ones that come to eat the mosquitoes. Your troubles will soon be over. Yeah, exactly, because all the mosquitoes will be gone. Mosquitoes are the little problems that you're not paying attention to. And when they come into your house, they're the things that just bug you. And the mosquito hawks come and they bring you peace. They're here to bring you peace. Oh, that's lovely. What about worms? God, I had worms come into my house once. It was raining outside. It was flooding outside. And again, this is a connection not only to the water spirits, but the nature spirits of the earth, the gnomes. Mother Earth Gaia, when she puts earthworms in your path, is showing you that you need to connect with her and all of nature. You need to commune more with nature. Worms are gentle, sweet creatures that will never hurt anybody. And you can use them to go fishing. So a lot of times you'll see worms, and that's a sign. Go to a lake, go to a body of water, go somewhere. Connect with the earth and connect with the water spirits. They're kind of a combination between their messenger for both sides. Oh, that's so interesting. Okay, slugs. You're being far too lazy if a slug shows up in your house. You're just like laying around being goo. It's the energy I'm feeling, the energy of like you're just being the energy of goo. Slugs show up when you are sluggish. That should be kind of obvious, right? Yeah, I guess it's a little obvious. What about snails? They're slugs with their shells on their backs. Yeah, the door-to-door slugs. Snails, what about snails, God? Snails are showing you that you're maybe unique and weird, or that someone weird is coming your way, or that you're going to look at life in a new and strange and unique way, something you never considered before. Snails are very magical creatures. Think like the gypsy caravans that contained magic and stories and music and dancing and all manner of things that would just excite the mind and the imagination. Snails contain that kind of energy. There's so much in snails. Yeah, God's showing me. Remember when you drew snails before? Yeah, I did. And I've had snail races, and snails are just really weird and intense and slimy, but they also have their own house. They're cool and freaky. He's like, yeah, and they're aliens. They're aliens. It's when you need to look at a problem or a situation from a completely alien point of view, a completely different or weird or strange or unique point of view. That's when the snails will come to your life. And they don't always go in your house, and they don't always even go in your yard, but if they just come in front of your energy field, and just be careful not to step on them. They're very sweet creatures, even though a lot of people will kill them to save their dichondra or their grass or whatever. Overall, snails they can be destructive, but they're very slow at it. So if you're not looking at something in a specific way or a unique way, you could easily be eroding your own life by being too rigid in your box. Even the snail shell is round and has a Fibonacci sequence right on the shell. All right, very good. What about praying mantis? You need to meditate when a praying mantis shows up. He even shows you how to do it. He will snap his head in your direction and stare you in the eyes until you are aware of the presence of God. And he does it in such a shocking way because his appearance is so shocking that it shocks you out of yourself. But at the same time, the energy of green, because praying mantises are green, they go right to the heart of you. And then they put their hands together and they show you. They are like the strictest form of master. And they will come and show you, this is what you need to be doing in your life right now. Put God above all things. Put your divine, whatever your divine is. If you are even an atheist, you just got to focus inward. All of the answers are within you. And the praying mantis is here to show you. It's time to go within. It's time to feel that bright, green, beautiful love energy of your high heart. And pray. It's time to pray. Oh, I love that one. That's cool. They are really freaky to me, but I've always felt an overwhelming spiritual presence. Like I'm in a presence of a master. Yeah, they're like the masters of the insect world. The spiritual masters. It's so cool. What about crickets? When you hear a cricket, crickets are magical creatures and they walk between the worlds. They can tell you the temperature there's a formula. Look, okay guys, look this up online. This is true. If you have a cricket in your yard in India, and I think in China, in parts of Asia, they will literally get a cricket as a pet and put it in a box. And when someone approaches the house, the cricket will stop chirping. They are excellent watchers. They will warn you if someone's there. But they tell the temperature. They're the coolest thing, because if you hear a cricket and you count how many times they rub their legs together in a minute, and then you do the formula, you could tell within 1 to 2 degrees exactly how cold or hot it is outside. Yes, crickets are intelligent and they're magical creatures, and they're good luck. They're absolutely good luck, and they want you to remind yourself that luck exists, magic exists, and also just to laugh more and be funny and not take yourself so seriously. They're almost like a heyoka of the insect kingdom because they're very funny. They will get into your house and hide behind your refrigerator, and they will just chirp, 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 chirp away all night long. And then they will leave when you just are able to ignore them and be happy in life. Then they'll leave when it's ready. When they're ready. When they're good and ready, they leave. It almost seems like they're attached to fairies sometimes. They can be. They can definitely show you the presence of fairies in your home. Not always, but sometimes absolutely they can. All right. What now about ticks and fleas? Fleas are almost like little tiny, you're picking on yourself, and they will bite you and bite you and bite you and bite you and bite you when you don't feel worthy enough and you feel abandoned, and then you feel that you deserve to be abandoned. A lot of times you'll be attacked by fleas. An animal will run up to you and give you fleas. And a lot of times it's because you feel that you deserve that. You deserve to be picked on. And they'll leave a bunch of problems, a bunch of little bites on you. We have 1,000 little problems, and it's always related to that. Also, keep your dogs and cats clean. I mean, there's the obvious stuff, and then there's the spiritual stuff. And if it's not obvious why suddenly you have fleas, if you don't have an animal and suddenly there's fleas, it's because you're picking on yourself, and you're picking on each other, and your family, you're picking on each other. And so a lot of times that's what's going on with fleas. What about ticks? Ticks are kind of like leeches, and leeches won't just come in your house. They're in the lake. But it's the same principle, the blood-sucking scumbags of the earth type of energy is what I'm getting from God. God's not judging people and calling them scumbags, but I am. That's me. It's Elena saying that. So I'm feeling that scumbag, sucky, ugh. And they can carry disease as well. Yes, it's when someone wants to latch onto your energy and just suck away like an energy vampire. They'll either ask you for money repeatedly, and it doesn't mean your kids, it doesn't mean teenagers, but just like if you have like that one relative that asks if they could stay the night on your couch, and 3.5 months later they're still there eating your food, sucking up your energy and just draining your life force from you. That's kind of what ticks mean. And what happens to dogs, it's because they're absorbing the negative energy of that person for you, and then your dogs attract it. Your cats will attract the ticks to show you that it's there, that kind of parasitic relationship is existing in your world. But at the same time, your dogs will take the brunt of it, of the energy of it, until they can't take it anymore, and until you have to do something. So what if you get Lyme disease from a tick? Then what? Right frequency will work, but it means you got to pay attention to your own health and put yourself forward and put yourself first, and don't put your blood-sucking relatives first. You know, not everyone's relatives are that way, of course, but some of them are, and they're opportunists. It doesn't even have to be a relative. It could be a neighbor or someone who's constantly borrowing rice or sugar from you, or someone who's borrowing your freaking time. You can't walk from your driveway to your front door without that one neighbor just sucking the life out of you and taking an hour of your time or 3 hours of your time, or just like they have to borrow a candle when the power's out, and they've got to borrow, if someone does it once or twice a year, that's not a big deal. But if it's every frickin' day, sometimes a tick will show up in your life, so you can pay attention to that. What about lice? I went to Guatemala with my kids. We went into a very dirty hostel and we got lice, and there were also scorpions on the walls. So what about lice and scorpions? So, okay, so lice. There's the obvious dirty factor in the situation that you guys had. But again, it's the parasitic nature. If someone is in your life that's just a complete parasite, and they're just willing to drain your every last nerve and your every last penny and your every last ounce of life force. Yeah, I had a person in my life at that time. Exactly. And you feel like you just would rather burn your scalp off than have these insects in your hair and in your body. It gets so itchy, and you're just like, ugh. And even years later, you're just like, ugh. And yes, that's when someone is around you, and it's not only that they're that kind of a personality, but it's almost like they have tentacles, energetic tentacles around you. And they just, every aspect of who you are, like they'll irritate you to get a rise out of you so they could feed off your energy. They're very bad people. If you get lice, it's because you have very bad people around you, or wanting to be around you. Okay, God, what about earwigs? When I was in Chico, we had earwigs coming in all the time, and they were so weird, but we did fall in love with one earwig and named it Earl, and well, that was our pet for a while. We literally had a pet earwig named Earl. So, God, what can you tell us about earwigs? Well, in spite of the name, and it freaks people out because of the way they look, they're little pinchers, but they're false pinchers. They'll never hurt you. They're very gentle creatures. They're kind of like the whimsy of the world. And if you don't have an earwig in your life, if you have an earwig, you find having an earwig in your life, you need more whimsy and fun in your life. for example, you guys named your earwig Earl, and you made jokes about it, and you tweeted about it, and you guys had a great deal of fun and whimsy about it, did you not? Yes, we did, actually. And then after that, we didn't really have any earwigs, right? So yeah, no, we had no more earwigs after that. So because we now incorporated fun and fancy and super crazy things. They're almost like the court jester of bugs. They're so strange. And speaking of really freaking weird, strange looking bugs, potato bugs. Oh yes, the earth babies. Are they fairies? Are they bugs? Are they aliens? What are they? They're usually not to be seen. They're deep, deep in the earth, and they're taking care of the nature, and they're worrying about making the soil clean and pure. And they're very sweet, gentle creatures, but they're freaky to you because they look like human babies, and that's why they're called earth babies or potato bugs, depending on where you find them. And then they have the little yellow and gray striped wings, which are unusable completely, and they kind of show you the dormant nature of yourself. I'm getting all kind of weird, creepy feelings about these things. They freak me out. First time I saw one, God, I thought it was an alien. I thought we were under invasion. I was looking all around the yard for a teeny tiny little alien spacecraft. I was so scared that there's gonna be a little flying saucer like in the Twilight Zone episode with the little tiny aliens. Okay, I'm sorry I made this creature so scary to you. But usually people don't ever see them. They're not supposed to see them. They're what is dormant inside of you. When you do see one, there's something lying hidden and dormant. Maybe something you need to clean. Maybe it's something you need to clear from your life. It's something deep, deep, deep that you need to look at inside yourself. And these creatures can't see. They have closed eyes and wings that don't. So it's like something that you're not looking at, that it's something about yourself that's dormant that you can't see. And the wings, you haven't given yourself permission yet to give yourself wings to do something really big and really great in your life yet. If you run across a potato bug, they are like a magical creature. They're almost between two worlds because they usually just live deep inside the earth and you never see them. So it's almost like a blessing to see it, even though it freaks you out and shocks you to your core because they're so weird. But when you see one, it's like a reminder to love the deepest, most dormant, hidden parts of yourself that you've been blind to. And give yourself permission to fly and be free. And now that the potato bug has come to the surface, so can you. You could come to the surface of who you are and give yourself the permission and the way to fly. And they're always for the bigger issues like starting a marriage, going to university, moving to another city or state, starting a new career. Maybe you've never played a lick in your life, but now you want to cut a musical album. So now you got to start the guitar lessons and the singing lessons. Like, they're always something to do with talent, and it's always something that you didn't know about of yourself. So they're very rare to see, and they're really weird and freaky, but if you do see one, that's what it means. All right, what about the katydids that we would hear, the crickets, like, katydids? I don't know what else to say about them. They come out like midges and katydids, and there's a bunch of critters that come out into the forest in certain places. Oh yes, those are just to raise the vibration of the planet. Their songs are perpetual, and they're to lighten your mood and lighten you up. And even if you know they're creatures of the night, you don't really think about the individual insects, and you hardly ever see them. And you hear them because they need to raise your vibration. If you notice when you get tinnitus, it sounds very much the same high-pitched frequency that you would hear the crickets at night, or even the frogs, or all those. So don't worry about that. They're just here to keep the vibration of the planet high. And it's very good for the land. It's good for the plants to grow, and it's good for humans, honestly. Okay, good. So now we have ladybugs. What can you tell me about ladybugs? Ladybugs. Think luck, be a lady tonight. Ladybugs are lucky. They bring you beauty and joy and luck. And if you ask me a question and I send you a ladybug, don't forget to count the spots on its back. Sometimes that means how many years or days or weeks or months that something is going to happen. And the more spots, the older the ladybug, the more mature the plan is, the more mature you are, the closer you are to achieving it. But also so it could be 7 days away, because your plan that took a whole year is very mature. And so if you find a ladybug with eight spots, that's 8 days away. And they grow usually one spot on one side and then one spot on another side. But they're red and black, and they're another creature of whimsy. They're beautiful. They're beetles, and they're just lovely. And sometimes they can bite, so you got to be careful of ladybugs. Sometimes you have bad luck. Sometimes you have good luck. But overall, ladybugs are good. Don't kill them. Don't ever smash a ladybug. That's bad karma. They're very sweet creatures. They come to bring you blessings, sometimes messages, and usually they're just trying to answer a question. When you say, how long do I have until I get that house? Or when will I meet my one true love? Or, whatever question you've had in your mind or have prayed to me, sometimes I'll send you a ladybug as your answer. Okay, so what about, dragonflies? What do dragonflies do? When they come to you? They're your connection to water and air spirits. And if you are a person with air magic, they will come to help you hone your magic. They are gatekeepers. They will be found outside of places that are portals to another dimension, places that are very good for meditation. What else? I know there's something else. Sometimes they're actual fairies disguised as dragonflies. Oh, I've seen them with the little shoes, and they're like little fairies. And then I'm like, whoa, did you see that? And then all of a sudden, it'll just turn right back into a dragonfly. He says, oh yeah, it's a lovely disguise, isn't it? Sometimes they come in green or brown or electric blue. Sometimes they're golden or red. And every color means something different. And usually they are also messengers. They are like little angels, and they will come and tell you exactly the answer to something you've asked, or something you've prayed for, or something you have longed for. They will come and tell you. So, all right, tell me more about dragonflies. Sometimes they are connected to the spirits of dragons, to real dragons. And if you have dragon magic, you will see more dragonflies. They're a gentle reminder to never forget the magic within. And your own personal power is just ripe for the plucking. And just have a moment to yourself to do a ritual, light a candle, say a prayer, light incense, however you believe, whatever makes you feel comfortable. But dragonflies bring back the magic in your life. Okay, now God, what about butterflies? Butterflies are harbingers of death. They're harbingers of good things to come. They're harbingers of many things. Sometimes they are a sign that angels are near. They are always working in close connection with your spirit guides, your masters, and your angels. Okay, so God, when my husband was going to die, I got a butterfly, a black and yellow one, his favorite color, yellow, very pale butter yellow and black, and it came and landed right on my arm. It flew in a circle around me and landed in my arm. In fact, it flew in a circle around me twice and then landed on my arm. And then in that moment, I felt like I was kissed by an angel, and I felt completely filled with peace, but also with the knowledge that my husband had 2 months left to live. And God's given me, yes, confirmation. The reason it flew around me twice, that each time it flew around me was 1 month. And I knew it was him because it was his favorite color. Yeah, if you pay attention, you're going to know the exact message. They bring packets of light with them. Butterflies are very magical creatures. I mean, they start off as one thing and end up as another thing. Inchworms, by the way, I forgot to ask about inchworms. Inchworms are meant to tell you to keep plodding along, keep persevering, keep going, keep chugging away at whatever it is that you're doing. Don't ever give up on yourself. Don't ever stop. Again, they are green. They are bright green, the color of the heart. They go to the very heart of you when you see them. They're so adorable and they're so cute. And that's why. That's why sometimes when you see a caterpillar that's going to turn into a beautiful butterfly, many times that butterfly or that caterpillar will have like a cute little face with a little whimsical eyebrows. I have a picture on Facebook about this. They're very whimsical and creatures of magic. They're going to transform completely. And they are harbingers of the ascension. White butterflies lately have been harbingers of the ascension. Moths, God, I've always considered them to be the ugly cousins of the butterfly, even though they're very beautiful. And I had an enormous, I had a black moth land on my heart, and it was as big as my face here in Ecuador, and I knew that my mom was going to die because it wasn't a butterfly, it was a moth. Yes, sometimes moths are messengers from the underworld, the spirit world, what you might call the netherworld, or the ethereal world. They will come and definitely tell you messages from the dead, as well as when someone is about to die as well. The reason why I sent a butterfly, not a butterfly, but a moth to you, it was really big because it was going to be a very big death. And yeah, that was the biggest one I've dealt with so far. Was when my mom died. That was the big one. She was the one person I talked to every day of my whole life. And it was devastating. And I remember I chased it out. I told the lady, go behind the counter, let me harbor this. I didn't want the butterfly, I didn't want the black moth to touch anybody, because I knew that whoever it touched, they were going to suffer a big loss. And I knew it was a moth of death. Yeah, but it was only meant for you. I'm like, yeah, of course, it landed on my heart. And it made me cry, and I was like, oh, my mom's going to die. I just knew it. So, yeah, moths are messengers of the underworld, or, they're not evil and they're not from the devil, nothing like that. But moths, they'll just come with little messages fluttering around you. Especially if they land on you and there's no lights and it has nothing to do with lights or, something that's normal. They will just come as messengers. So butterflies, doesn't matter the color. Oh yes, every color has a different meaning. We could go over that on another day. He's saying, but generally, monarchs, you've been given an award from heaven. a reward of some kind is coming your way, because a monarch is a king. They are the butterflies that live the longest. And they're bright orange. They have to do with creativity and the joy of life. So think cooking with friends and laughing around a fire. They could be related to fire, even though butterflies are related to air magic. I'm trying to think if I've ever seen a red butterfly. I don't think ever. But the blue butterfly, that's spiritual healing. The legend of the blue butterfly is well known throughout South America, and there's a movie about that. So what about that, God? Yes, that's spiritual healing for sure. Healing the prana, healing the life force. But also, it's like being visited by the blue fairy or a blue angel. They're very, very sacred. If you are lucky enough to have one land on you, you are truly blessed. And what about the little milk butterflies, the little milky ones that are white and pale yellow? They're just to remind you to lighten up. Lighten up. They're like a little light. And they also raise your vibration to the higher realms, to the during the ascension to the fifth dimension especially. And I'm trying to think if there's any other kind of common butterfly. Every color has a different meaning, and it doesn't matter the color. If you get a specific message or you think of something specifically when a butterfly lands on you or near you, that's messages specifically for you. Sometimes they will carry messages directly from loved ones from heaven. Sometimes it's from your angels or directly from Divine Mother or Father God, or your guardian angels. They're messengers. They're constant winged messengers. Awesome. Well, thank you, God. Thank you for all of this. This has been really good. I'm glad you gave me this idea. And he says, you're very welcome. Divine Mother's just sitting here enjoying this fascinating topic. She's just kind of like shaking her head this whole time. She just wanted God to talk about it. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for being here and lending your energy and your healing energy to everyone listening. He says, of course, it's our pleasure. You're our children. We love you. All right, guys. Well, that's all I got to say about that. I hope you enjoyed this really strange, creepy, crawly adventure that we went on together. I had to land on butterflies because they were my favorites. Butterflies and dragonflies and ladybugs are my favorites. So, we saved the best ones for last. So now I am signing off with peace and love and joy and the high vibes of the holy fifth dimension. Until next time, guys. Metaphysical Soul Speak is run on sponsors and listener support. This means listeners like you. If you are so inclined to support my efforts and my little podcast, please visit me at anchor.fm/metaphysical and pledge an amount of your choosing today. Thank you.